Some objects are more than just things. They carry echoes of the past, whispers of untold stories. They're vessels for stories, containers of human experience, waiting to be unlocked. Sometimes, even for something sinister, something that lingers long after its creation. This is the story of The Anguished Man, a painting infamous not for its artistry, not for its technical brilliance, but for the raw, disturbing power it exudes, a power that seems to seep from the canvas itself. The image is a distorted face, rendered in violent reds and browns, colors that evoke feelings of pain and suffering. Its features twisted in a silent scream, a visual representation of pure agony. Hollow eyes seem to follow you, piercing your soul with their emptiness, and the gaping mouth is a black hole of agony, a void that threatens to swallow you whole. The painting's chaos and suffering are almost unbearable to look at, a visual assault on the senses. But what truly sets it apart is its origin. The artist, tormented and desperate, driven to the brink of madness, mixed his own blood into the paint, before taking his own life, leaving behind a legacy of pain and despair. The painting became his final message, a suicide note in pigment and blood, a chilling testament to his inner turmoil. This tragic backstory clings to the canvas, forever bound to the artwork, transforming it from mere art into a relic of pain, a cursed object imbued with negative energy. Viewers don't just see a frightening face, they feel the weight of the artist's despair, the crushing burden of his final moments. The painting is no longer just an object, it's an experience, a challenge to confront the abyss, to stare into the face of madness. It dares you to look, to see if something looks back, to test the boundaries of reality. The line between art and artifact blurs here, dissolving into a chilling ambiguity. The painting is a relic, imbued with tragedy, and a potential source of anguish itself, a conduit for the artist's tormented spirit. People sense the story behind it, and that story changes how they see and feel about the painting, coloring their perception with dread and unease. It's not just observed, it's survived, an ordeal that leaves its mark on the viewer. The Anguished Man is a dare, a test of courage, a challenge to your sanity, and a window into darkness, a glimpse into the abyss of the human soul. And its story is just beginning, a tale of horror and mystery that continues to unfold. The legend of the painting, shrouded in mystery and whispered tales, finally entered the public eye. This was largely due to the experiences of Sean Robinson, who unexpectedly inherited the unsettling artwork from his grandmother, a woman deeply affected by its presence. For years, she'd kept it locked away in the darkest corners of her home, convinced that it was inherently evil and brought an oppressive darkness into the very fabric of the home. Sean, a natural skeptic, initially dismissed her increasingly frantic warnings as mere superstition, the ramblings of an old woman. He confidently took the painting home, eager to debunk what he saw as a fanciful myth. At first glance, he saw only a disturbing, albeit intriguing piece of art, certainly not a haunted object capable of influencing reality. But soon, his steadfast, rational explanations began to falter, cracks appearing in his wall of logic. The unsettling sense of being constantly watched grew stronger with each passing hour, and the very atmosphere within his home became increasingly oppressive and heavy. The painting's presence was undeniable. It radiated an almost palpable unease that permeated every corner of the room. Sean's deeply ingrained skepticism was about to be severely tested, as a series of increasingly strange and unexplainable events began to mount around him. His grandmother's desperate warnings echoed louder and louder in his mind, with each passing day that the painting remained within his walls. The painting was rapidly transforming from just a family heirloom, a piece of inherited history, into a terrifying source of fear, a constant reminder of something sinister lurking just beneath the surface. Sean was now forced to confront the unsettling possibility, a reality he had long denied, that some objects truly carry their history, their pain, and their darkness with them, clinging to the present. The Anguished Man had quickly become the unsettling center of his life and the focal point of his growing dread. The already thin line between imagination and reality began to blur and distort, making it harder to discern what was real. The painting's chilling story was no longer just a distant, spooky tale. It was actively happening to him, becoming his own terrifying reality. Sean's unexpected journey, The transformation from staunch skeptic to reluctant believer had only just begun, and the painting's dark and malevolent influence was only continuing to grow stronger with each passing moment. The haunting began subtly, almost imperceptibly, with whispers at night, faint, sorrowful murmurs, impossible to trace to any logical source. They seemed to drift from the very walls themselves. Soon the sounds grew clearer, more distinct, escalating in intensity and frequency. Crying, the sound of someone weeping inconsolably in the dead of night. Urgent voices, hushed and frantic, as if desperately trying to warn of some impending doom. Then there were the scratches and taps, emanating specifically from the room where the painting hung, a constant, unnerving reminder of its presence. Loud bangs startled the family, jolting them awake in the darkness, their hearts pounding in their chests. Yet, after each terrifying incident, nothing was ever out of place, no sign of forced entry, no logical explanation for the disturbances. Then came the shadows, shifting, amorphous shapes that danced in the periphery of vision, fleeting glimpses of a tall, dark figure lurking in doorways, just at the edge of perception, and a more solid, defined presence at the top of the stairs, watching, waiting. The figure lingered longer each time, no longer just a trick of the eye, but a palpable presence. Sean's wife awoke one night, paralyzed with fear, to see it standing silently at the foot of their bed. The children suffered increasingly vivid and disturbing nightmares, their sleep filled with terror. They were screaming in the night about a dark man lurking in their room, a figure of pure dread. The house felt besieged, suffocating under a blanket of dread, the sense of unease, constant and oppressive. The painting sat at the center of it all, a silent observer, radiating an aura of malevolence, its hollow eyes seemingly alive, watching the chaos unfold with a sinister knowing. It was no longer just a painting hanging on the wall. It had become the anchor, the focal point for the darkness that was steadily invading and consuming their lives. The family's sanctuary, their safe haven, had been transformed into a place of unrelenting fear and paranoia. The painting's influence was now undeniable, its presence permeating every corner of the house. The terror was real, palpable, and it was growing exponentially with each passing day and night. The anguished man had awakened something ancient and malevolent, something they could no longer ignore or deny. The haunting turned physical. Sean's wife felt a cold hand stroke her hair. His son was pushed down the stairs by an unseen force. The entity grew bolder, feeding on the family's fear. Exhaustion and illness plagued them, their energy drained by sleepless nights and constant anxiety. Sean set up a camera, capturing doors slamming, mists forming, and the painting falling violently from the wall. The evidence, shared online, drew public attention and paranormal investigators. The family's suffering reached a breaking point. Sean locked the painting in the cellar, desperate for relief. The activity stopped almost immediately. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and peace returned. The connection was undeniable. The painting was the cause. But the story was far from over. The anguished man was contained, but not defeated. Its power was real, and its legend was spreading. The darkness had only been locked away, not destroyed. The belief in haunted objects is ancient and universal. We give meaning to things, especially those tied to tragedy. Psychologists say our brains seek patterns, primed by stories. We see and hear what we expect. The anguished man's tale of blood and suicide creates a powerful expectation of fear. Some argue trauma can leave a psychic residue, replaying emotions like a recording. The painting, with blood in its paint, becomes a potent conductor for this energy. Whether the phenomena are real or imagined, the fear is genuine. For Sean's family, the terror was their reality. The debate between psychology and the paranormal is secondary to lived experience. Haunted objects remind us the past can reach into the present. The anguished man is a warning and a memorial. Its story is a testament to the power of belief and the weight of history. After locking the painting away, Sean loaned it to John, a fellow paranormal enthusiast. John's family immediately experienced the same horrors, crying, whispers, and the shadowy figure. The entity's aggression escalated. John saw it standing over his son's bed, and his wife woke with unexplained scratches. The oppressive dread was overwhelming. The experiment ended abruptly. John demanded Sean take the painting back, The stay lasted less than a week, but it was enough to convince John of the painting's danger. The anguished man was not just creepy, it was a threat. John warned Sean never to let it into another home. The painting's reputation as a cursed object was cemented. Its power was consistent, no matter where it went. The legend grew, fueled by fear and first-hand accounts. The anguished man was returned to its reluctant guardian. Its story was far from over. Scientists and paranormal researchers studied the painting, hoping for answers. Experiments with EMF meters, thermal cameras, and audio devices yielded inconclusive results. Some detected odd EMF spikes and faint voices, but skeptics blamed faulty wiring and audio pareidolia. A materials expert confirmed the paint contained organic material, possibly blood, lending credibility to the origin story. Science demanded proof, but the painting's effects were deeply personal and subjective. The clash between belief and skepticism intensified. The painting existed in a gray area, where science faltered, belief took over. The experiences of Sean and John's families couldn't be measured, but their fear was real. The anguished man defied easy explanation. Its legend thrived in the space between fact and faith. The mystery only deepened. After John's ordeal, Sean refused to sell or loan the painting again. Destroying it felt wrong, both out of respect for the artist and fear of releasing the entity. He locked it in a specially built container in his cellar, hoping isolation would weaken its power. The painting became a prisoner, hidden from the world. Some urged further study, others offered large sums to own it, but Sean declined all requests. He saw himself as the painting's reluctant guardian, protecting others from its influence. Its absence only fueled its legend. The anguished man became a sleeping monster, locked away but never forgotten. The world could only wonder what might happen if it were ever released. The painting's story was paused, not ended. Its power lingered, unseen but not gone. The question remained, is it truly dormant or merely waiting? The anguished man endures because it taps into primal fear's pain as contagion, trauma as inheritance. The painting is a metaphor for how suffering can haunt generations. Its legacy is now digital. Millions have seen its image and heard its story online. Unlike other internet legends, it's tied to a real physical object. This tangibility gives the story its power and blurs the line between fiction and reality. Is the painting still a threat? Some say the entity is dormant, others that its power was always in the story. The truth may lie in between. Fear itself can have real effects. The anguished man is more than art, it's a cultural artifact of fear. Whether haunted or not, its influence is undeniable. It forces us to consider that some objects are not passive, they hold stories, energy, and power. And as it waits in the darkness, it asks, do you believe?